Yeah, you already know it's your boy Drippy doing the good back on the baby. You know the vibes. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, show love, do what you do best. Your rest. No stress, no amount of breath. Let me back about another banger, man. Listen,
Alice, what you cooking?
I just want to say real quick, we live on YouTube. Y'all see the chat bubbles right here. We're live on a Twitch. You feel me? Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button if you're on the YouTube, and hit that follow button if you're on the Twitch. Social media as well. Catch me at DriPPie360. Google me if you need be, and let's get into this video, man.
Okay. The following program is rated TV MA. Viewer discretion is advised.
Today we reacting to CufBoys, Diddy trial. You feel what I'm saying? There's a lot more that's been happening lately, but this is one of the most informative ones that I think that I'll be able to look at. There's gonna be a lot more, and hopefully, if you guys are tuned in, like Mozzie is tuned in, then I'll continue dropping more videos. Make sure y'all drop them likes, though. All right, let's get into it, man. Shout out to CufBoys.
What would happen after the escort finished on you? Sean would want it put on his body in the next room. Hold on, what? What am I reading here? He would want it put on his body. Did you do that?
Pause.
I did. Where? Usually on his nip.
Hey, yo, Diddy is freak
What am
bull.
I reading, dude? Day 2 of the Diddy trial was absolutely insane. Cassie Ventura takes the stand and testifies about years of abuse by Combs. Alright, day 2. I'm going to read the updates so you don't have to. Sit back, hit subscribe, let's go. Diddy made a heart gesture to his family members arriving. Sean Combs' lead counsel Mark Agnafilo made an interesting comment after the jury was dismissed. Yesterday on Monday, he said he appreciated that each of the government's first 2 witnesses was already seated at the stand before the jury filled in the courtroom, and that he would like that to the case when star witness Cassie Ventura testifies today. So that's because she's pregnant, and they're trying to hide the fact that she's pregnant. Still, I feel like it's going to be impossible. Someone's going to figure out she's pregnant, but whatever. Diddy walks in the courtroom in an outfit similar to the one he wore yesterday, a lighter colored sweater with a white collared shirt underneath. No jury in the room yet. Court is discussing how it'll handle showing the explicit videos from Sean Combs' freak-offs. Media lawyers are now arguing that news organizations should be able to view the government's freak-off videos. It's important that the press, the people through the press, be able to see justice being done. Oh man. Lawyers are debating relevance of some text exchange between Sean Combs and Cassie Ventura that reference a bar fight. Combs lawyer Tenny Garrigan.
So what I'm trying to understand is, I want to know what initially. I'm behind, chat. I'm not gonna lie. I'm behind. But what initially triggered Diddy Combs to be investigated? Right. I believe it was the situation with Cassie when she got beat up and all of that. That was one of the things that triggered Combs to be investigated.
Garagos wants to introduce the text as evidence, arguing they show that Ventura got into a fight over issues of jealousy, which the defense says is central to understand Combs and Ventura's relationship. Government says that it's irrelevant. Jury walks in. Daniel Phillips
irrelevant. So it ain't even the investigation triggered. Well, what happened? I feel like with Cassie and Combs, it triggered the investigation. However, now that that's out of the window, because I believe Cassie is also being investigated. Not only Diddy is being investigated, but Cassie being investigated. But Cassie, I believe, is pleading as a victim of all the things that Diddy Combs has been doing.
Stand to continue his testimony and face cross-examination. Philip is the escort yesterday that met them several times between 2012 and 2014. Prosecutor Emily Johnson says she wants to clear the courtroom when the explicit images are shown to the jury, potentially be offering images from videos as early as this afternoon that would show nudity involving multiple people. Lawyers say the videos he recorded of women having sex with male prostitutes would vindicate him. Here's his family walking in today.
What does vindicate mean, chat? Educate me. What does vindicate mean? Vindicate mean? Clear or of blame or suspicion. Okay. So he's saying, Diddy Combs is saying he used the videos as recording to defend or protect him technically from anything like being used to expose him for what he's doing with these women, I guess. Especially through them having to sign the I forget what they're called, but them having to sign the petition so that they can't expose anything that goes on, I believe. I'm assuming
picture of Daniel Phillip. He wants to clear the courtroom when the explicit images are shown to the jury. Essentially be offering images from videos as early as this afternoon that would show nudity involving multiple people. Combs' lawyers say the videos he recorded of women having sex with male prostitutes would vindicate him. Here's his family walking in.
Okay. So he recorded because I'm assuming that's why he recorded. All right.
And today. Here's a picture of Daniel Phillip, the escort. Combs' lawyer Xavier Donaldson is on cross right now. Phillip admitted he only seen Cassie appear to be messed up on a drug or alcohol one time when he was invited over for a sex session with her. The one time you saw her under any kind of influence or any type of drugs, Mr. Combs said no to any sexual intercourse. Correct, Phillip responded, after specifying he'd been summoned for a freak-off. Danny Phillip said on cross that after Sean Combs attacked Cassie, she ran him shaking and terrified. Phillip explained that he didn't immediately...
Hold on, chat. Hold on. So these freak-offs is a regular thing. He just said, prosecution witness Daniel Phillip said on a cross-examination that Sean Combs attacked Cassie Ventura at the apartment. She ran to Phillips, terrified. Phillip explained that he didn't immediately start having sex with her after she was beaten by Combs, but the encounter happened organically. Okay. So basically, Cassie went and confided in Phillips, and they ended up having sex. What kind of guy is that, bro? Who, and what kind of gal is that? Who goes to another man after being with their man, and they have some type of altercation, and she runs to Phillips, Daniel Phillips, not the mom, not her dad, not her family, her brother, her sister, but she runs to another man. And then just organically they end up having sex, though. Help me understand, Chad. That's crazy. I'm just saying that's crazy.
She was beaten, but that encounter happened organically. She was shaking uncontrollably, obviously afraid, and we started talking for a while before we ended up kissing each other. This is absolutely insane.
Now, I'm not going to lie. Women do get vulnerable when they're going through like a traumatic experience. But as a guy and as a friend, you got to understand that that's like sometimes that's the case for a lot of women. That's how they cope sometimes, and you shouldn't take advantage of a woman when that's the case. Like, I'm not gonna, after a woman breaks up with a man, I'm not looking to be that woman's remail. I'm not looking to be anything to that woman until she has a clear mind, a clear thought, because I understand like it's either just for the moment she's trying to cope, or it's gonna be some situation that you regret. Shit, a lot of niggas die like that. Keep that in mind too. A lot of niggas die like that. She bounced on one nigga, then rebound off the other nigga, and now the nigga that she really supposed to be with, they back together, and now guess what? He coming for your head. You feel me?
I still can't believe Diddy was letting male prostitutes do this to his girl, man. Donaldson is doing a lot of rehashing of Phillips' testimony from yesterday. We're getting details about sexual positions, ED, and assault. This is all happening in front of Sean Combs' mother and children. Yesterday, he said he saw Combs throw a liquor bottle at Ventura from across the living room before dragging her by their hair into the bedroom. You overheard Ventura screaming and sounded like slapping and punching. Combs came out of the bedroom and asked, "Are you guys ready to continue?" Suggesting that they have sex. Donaldson pointed out that the police report said Combs had instead told Phillips to get the fuck out. Phillip maintained he didn't recall telling the police officers that. Interesting, so there's a discrepancy in the police report versus what this guy's saying a little bit. But he's saying, hey, I didn't say that. Donaldson, you thought you were in a relationship with Cassie, correct? Phillips scoffs and shakes his head. Incorrect. So that, I think that's the defense lawyer trying to put another narrative that they were in a relationship and this guy's jealous. They finished cross on Daniel Phillip, rehashed his prior testimony mainly. On redirect, he reiterated that Combs would give him and Ventura direction during some of these encounters, such as telling Ventura to give Phillip oral sex and instructing them to slather on baby oil.
There go to baby oil bullshit.
Freaky, disturbing shit, bro. Defense attorney asked that Ventura's husband, Alex Fine, not be in the courtroom, citing among other reasons a threatening text Fine allegedly sent to Combs after Ventura filed her lawsuit. The defense said it may, in fact, call Fine as a witness. Interesting. Here's Alex Fine walking into the courtroom today. Diddy appeared nervous as he went to the holding area for the break before Cassie Ventura's testimony. He adjusted his clothing and glanced over at one of his sons. He usually has a big smile for his row of supporters, but this time he appeared stoic. Cassie has been called to the stand, and things are about to heat up. This is basically the star witness of this trial. She has on a brown turtleneck dress. She says arguments would end.
Wait, before we get into this, I see a comment. You said, Kiki said, one of the reasons Cassie filed against Diddy at the end of 23 for physical abuse and coercion, and he settled in that lawsuit. Okay, I remember that. I remember that as well, where he paid a huge amount of money, basically, to have everything swept under the rug, right? No, nothing being public or basically anything like that, or having to go through an investigation or having to have lawyers and all of that and having a full case basically.
And physical abuse. He would knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp me.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of money. You don't just pay 20 mil for no reason. Then you settling is because more than likely, you know, it could either be because you don't want to lose more money later on in the long run, or you got some shit that you're trying to keep on you know what I'm saying?
Down. Jesus, man. Too frequently, the fights turned physical.
Technically, though.
Bruises all over my body. Here's a drawing of her getting sworn in with Diddy looking at her. Sean proposed to this idea, this sexual encounter that he called voyeurism. Asked what a freak off entailed, Ventura said it included the hiring of a male escort and setting up this experience and performing. Combs would direct this performance, she said. Ventura had her eyes down recounting this, pausing to slowly exhale. I just remember my stomach falling to my butt, just the nervousness and confusion in that moment. Recounting her feelings when she learned about the nature of...
See, the thing is, though, this is not the first time. It didn't happen one time, though. I feel like every time they speaking right now, they speaking off of the one encounter that happened where it really started to go like OD. I feel like when they speaking on this right now, they speaking on the one encounter where it went OD. But I feel like Cassie ain't new to this. I don't think she's innocent. I'm gonna be honest. You feel me? I can't, because just because she's in the prosecutor's seat, I don't look at her as somebody that shouldn't be cross-examined either. You feel what I'm saying?
She was 22 at the time and didn't have a concept of how that would be a turn on. She said she loved Combs very much and wanted to make him happy. She didn't feel like she had much of a choice but to participate in Combs' freak-off, she testified. Described herself as naive and a total people pleaser. Feared making him angry or uncomfortable with her rejection. Combs controlled much of her life, she said. Ventura feared that she would be blackmailed with videos and images of her participation in the freak-offs, as was threatened with violence. He had many resources to spread those images on the internet, she said. It was always in the back of my mind that I would somehow be hurt by him. Sean is a really polarizing person, also very charming, so it's hard to be able to decide in that moment what you need when he's telling you what he wants.
So, y'all hear that? That's the dangerous part about it. Like, she's pleading that she was a victim, basically, and that's been the narrative the whole time. However, I feel like people always have their own motives, and if their motives are deep enough, they're going to go through with it, you feel what I'm saying, depending on how far they want to go through with it until, you know, they obviously can't take anymore or they disagree with what's going on. Or they may have agreed on something initially, but then later on they disagree, and then that's where the misunderstanding or that's where the disagreement, of course, begins.
Before she met him, she just knew him as a larger-than-life entrepreneur and musician. I was a fan of the music. She was 19 years old when she signed a 10-album deal with Bad Boy Records. 10-album deal.
10-album deal. She signed a deal. She signed a deal. Before all of this happened, apparently she signed a deal. She got some type of deal.
Around record labels. I've been in meetings with record labels. I don't know if you guys know this. 10-album deal is fucking ridiculous.
It is.
I've only ever heard of 4-album deals that are terrible. But
a fucking 10-album deal is insane. You, like, biggest artists don't even drop 10 albums a year. I mean, 10 albums, like, you would think, like, biggest artists don't even drop one album every year type shit. They drop singles, and then maybe every 2 years, 3 years, they'll drop one album, depending on where they at in their music industry life or their music career. The only person that could go that strong, I feel like, and still be relevant is Drake. Clearly, you know what I'm saying? He could go album for album for album. He's been doing this shit since he was 18. You know what I'm saying? Well, maybe I'm wrong. He was doing this shit for a minute, but you know what I'm saying? He's like 40 something now, bro. It ain't a lot of people that go album for album for album. And how the fuck do you even get a 10 album deal? You're basically You're basically messing up yourself low key. And that money must be really, really good. But it ain't nobody that's going to get a good return off a 10 album deal unless you're Drake. I'm being honest. Or you're Lil Wayne or you're Young Money. You feel what I'm saying? Or you're somebody in that category. Nobody don't just get a regular 10 album deal. I'm just going to put it like there.
Ted. Ventura described Combs kissing her in her hotel suite around the time of her 21st birthday in Vegas. She said she was confused by the kiss and recalled crying and running off. She's a new artist, didn't know the lay of the land, and wasn't used to an executive acting in a sexual and romantic way. Power dynamic, man. Some messed up shit. She's only 21. He was probably in his fucking 40s. I wanted to be around
Weird.
Sean for the
I
same
think it's
reasons
weird.
as everyone else at the time. This exciting, entertaining, fun guy who also happened to have my career in his hands. It felt special because not a lot of people got that time with him. After he kissed her at the 21st birthday party, Cassie testified he would invite her to meetings in hotel rooms in New York. She said she felt nervous and excitement about these. We're going to talk about music, or we're going to talk about what's next. Combs introduced her to oral sex, Ventura said. He just kind of made me feel crazy for not reciprocating. After he performed it on her for the first time, she recounted. She said she was completely sexually inexperienced at the time and was in a relationship with another person.
I call Cat. Y'all hear this shit, bro? Y'all hear this shit? At 21, Ventura is completely new to sex, right? And I'm not saying, okay, let me give her the benefit of the doubt, right? And this is just because off of my experience and the way that the world is these days, I didn't know much about intercourse or sex, you know. It seemed like everybody around me, where I'm from, everybody around me knew about that shit before I did. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm sure a lot of people experienced it like that. You know what I mean? But nowadays, sex is just thrown in your face. It don't matter what age you are. There's no consideration. I'm surprised that she says at the age of 21, she's new to you know, sex and stuff like that. But like, she's able to ease into a 10-year deal just like that. Like, somebody remind me, who the fuck is Cassie Ventura? And when has she ever been relevant for her music to get a 10-year deal? I'm tripping, chat? Let me know. I'm going to be honest. Like, let me know. So Kiki said, questioned probably, but also he had everyone under the influence of whatever drink, coercion, or hella drugs. So it's also hard to go by what most victims were saying entirely. Not to mention it's been years. So it felt like most evidence isn't going to be there because it's a lot of time without being supervised to get rid of shit, and we probably never know. Right. And there's also contracts that says that you can't say anything about it at the end of the day. So a lot of it ain't even supposed to be getting exposed. But the whole damn thing is fucked, yeah. But this was also back then. So maybe she was waiting for something. Yeah, NDAs, the then NDAs. It just couldn't come to mind right now, 'cause you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the NDAs for sure.
She traced the beginning of the relationship back to a trip to Miami a few months after her 21st birthday. It was the first.
But I think Cassie, I think she's still young though. How old is Cassie? Because Diddy's like 40 something, 50? Okay, yeah, that's a bit a minute. Cassie is 38. I don't ever remember Cassie being anything in music. I don't know any I don't think I know any Cassie songs, bro. I ain't gonna lie. And Diddy is 55. Cassie is how old again? 38. Diddy is 55. I know one. Well, name one. Name me one, please.
First time they had sex. First time she intentionally took ecstasy after the trip. We were just together.
She intentionally took ecstasy. Okay. We'll leave it at that. You know, you're young. You know, you're trying things. You're new into a new career with somebody else very successful. Not saying that that's a good move. It's not. When you're on a journey like that and you're really intentional about what you're doing, you should not be doing hard drugs like that at all. You feel what I'm saying? You should be more than, if anything, focused. You should be in your bag. Talking about 21, you're starting a career. You should not be it ain't no game. It ain't no peaches and cream. It ain't no walk in the park. You know what I'm saying? You talking about a 10 album deal. But
together.
okay.
I become one of his girlfriends after that trip. Ventura thought they might be in a monogamous relationship. I can't say naive enough, describing her mindset at the time. I mean, yeah, these rappers and music mogul guys, I'd say 90% of them probably cheat on their wives. I'll give it
For
like
sure.
10% of them don't, dude. She was enamored by Combs in the early part of the relationship. I really fell in love with him. Describing herself as a little shadow who followed him around, she thought it was my first real adult relationship. But as the relationship continued, Combs exercised more control over her, whom she was speaking to, and what she was working on that day. This man is insecure as hell. That's what this is. who she's talking to and what she's wearing, you're a psycho.
I don't think it's much to do about them being in a relationship. It's just control and in between a supply and demand. Cassie is getting everything she wants. Diddy is getting everything that he wants. They have no issue. But at the end of the day, they're not handling or standing on business like that contract is supposed to be.
Yeah, she said he was
standing on. You feel what I'm saying? Like I said, bruh, I'm still on that contract, bro. That 10 album deal.
who she's talking to and what she's
sorry.
wearing, you're a psycho. She said he was an incessant caller and would have his staff, assistants, and security continuously pester her until he found you. Ventura had been pausing to take slow, deep breaths. She also had been running her hands over her belly, adjusting herself in the chair.
Should I switch to Monday CRM? Update.
I don't know. I'm still stuck on that, bro. Like that right there is like a red flag. Like straight up. Straight up.
Big belly bump. That didn't go well, probably. Cassie testified about the psychological abuse. She said she always had to be working on something and Combs would check in to make sure he was doing so. This includes submitting lists of songs she was working on to him. A lot of things I did didn't actually come out. She said describing the tasks as busy work and just control over what I was doing every minute of the day. When she ignored him, he would call constantly and sometimes send a security agent or trusted assistant to her home. It was part of Combs' security staff's job, Ventura said, to keep an eye on her. She moved to LA because Combs wanted to be closer to his children in LA. I wasn't ready to be out in New York. Because I was love, I wanted to be near him. She was gifted a New York City apartment by Combs. He paid the rent and lived nearby. Combs also paid for some of her apartments in LA and had his own keys and would enter whenever he wanted. She recorded hundreds of songs over the span of her relationship with Combs, enough to comprise 9 albums for a 10-album record deal. I still can't.
So like I said, bro, she's getting a lot of what she wants. Like, there's no way you're doing a business. You feel what I'm saying? And you're letting somebody have the keys to your house. Where is any of that have anything to do with business? You feel what I'm saying? You know he got multiple women. Like, you can't. Oh my gosh. When you're doing business, you can't have a relationship as well unless, like, you know it's a committed relationship type shit. Because, like, you end up with situations like this where there's no clear line of understanding on what you guys, you know what I mean, need to be doing and what's the priority between you two. You feel what I'm saying?
I can't believe she did a 10-album record deal. That is just terrible. None of the
See,
songs
he
were
on it
released.
too. It don't
She
make no
received
sense.
compensation
None of the
for her
songs
work and her career
released.
stalled. So Diddy
No
shelved his own
compensation.
girlfriend. If you don't know what shelved is, that's when a record label says, fuck no, you're not releasing anything right now. Asked about why she didn't release another album, Ventura inhaled deeply and gave a small smile. You're asking me? Combs controlled the releases and added that the majority of her time with Combs was spent at parties or in recovery from them. The freak offs became a job. There was no space to do anything else. This is disturbing. So she was just consumed by this guy's psycho behavior, dude. They took a break around noon. When she entered the courtroom, Combs turned to watch her. She appeared to have no interest in returning his gaze. First time they'd seen each other since 2018. Combs was watching her throughout her testimony without any reaction. Combs looked at the jury for a few seconds as Ventura detailed the first time he kissed her. Interesting. He peeked over at the jury. Legendary Brian Steele and Miss Westmoreland entering. I saw a lot of comments saying they were disappointed in Brian Steele taking this case. You guys gotta understand. Brian Steele is probably one of the best attorneys in the country right now. And after the home run that he did on the Young Thug case, when you're offered to represent Diddy and be in the headlines again, as a lawyer, you have to do that. And I get you saw him as a different person. I saw a lot of people saying they're disappointed. They saw him as a different person, but
I feel
that's
that.
what lawyers do, man. This is
I'm going to tell you right here. The reason why this case works for their situations is because the people that are looking to sue or the people that are looking to dishonor or uphold honor aren't really honorable. You feel what I'm saying? They aren't really, their hands aren't clean either. You get what I'm saying? They're down to try dirty tricks and do dirty shit and break the law behind the scenes because they know the law. They'll twist and tweak the law. You feel what I'm saying? So you look at the bad guys as bad guys for doing bad things, but you look at the good guys for claiming they're good guys while doing bad things. It doesn't, you feel what I'm saying? It don't, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying?
their job.
It's
Combs'
about who
family showed
know the
little
law
reaction
better.
to some of the
What's
more
good, Barry?
sensitive things she testified about. The adult children in the room remained dispassionate. Combs would tell her, I look too Mexican with my hair like that, or I needed to have my nails done a certain way. Discuss whether she would get breast implants, and that her look during their freak-off sessions was especially important to him. Some days he would want me to be really sexy and be his woman other days. She's being asked about Christina Coram and Tony Fletcher, trusted Combs' assistant. She is also being asked about members of Combs' security staff. She recalled a freak-off party where Combs learned his rival Suge Knight was at a nearby diner and left with a posse to find him. The tourist said she was scared of what they would do, but they soon returned to the house. This is...
You see how they look. You see how she's letting off things to how do you say, like, what's the right word, to like remove the focus off of her. You feel what I'm saying? She's mentioning things that really puts the spotlight on Diddy, but she's not trying to focus on the role that she played in Diddy's freak-offs. She understands that prostitution is illegal. You understand that you're having immoral sex with people that aren't your husband, that isn't your husband and isn't your man, but you're still fulfilling with it and going through with it. You're making a decision to go through with it, drugs or not. You're already intentionally agreeing and being honest that you're doing these drugs that are illegal substances that you shouldn't even be doing, right? Now, we all are our own people. We make the decisions that we make. However, it's like hard to just look at somebody and say, okay, you're not guilty. This person is guilty. We're going to make this person, we're going to charge this person, and that's it. You got to look at both sides of the story. You know what I'm saying? You can't be unbiased and really, really, really understand what you're prosecuting this person for, because that's what you're going for.
Shit out of a movie, bro. Diddy hopping in a car going to spin the block on Suge Knight is crazy.
That's basically what she's snitching about.
Are you trying to lose a few pounds before summer? Factor's 2-minute meals can help you. Eating well has never been easier. Just heat it.
That's basically what she's snitching about, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, big up to CufBoys, you feel me? I know he trying to get his bread, he trying to get his money on, you feel me? Shout out Factors for hit him with that sponsor.
This is the video. Items in Diddy's safes, cash, jewelry, videotapes, and SD cards. I wonder what's on those videotapes and SD cards, dude. She said he raised the idea of voyeuristic sex parties after he began physically abusing her. I understood him to be a dancer, referring to the male escort.
See? They just doing what makes the money type shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the business that's just part of the business that they had.
To dance and to have intercourse with me. She added that drugs and alcohol were present at the sex party held at LA home that Combs was renting. I was high, so there wasn't much feeling. She said she felt a mixture of dirty and confusion, but at the same time, he's really happy with me and I did something right. Weekly for a consistent amount of years, from earlier in their relationship to about 2017 or 2018. Provided drugs, called all the shots, choreographed everything from her sexual positions with escorts to the lighting of the room. Went on for hours, and even when she wanted to stop, she was scared to. It would be
people get paid to do stuff like this, right? Am I tripping? There's porn stars that get paid to have intercourse and record on camera and get paid and publicly post that on internet. And a lot of times, some of them are prostitutes. You get what I'm saying? So, like, where's the illegal side in that? You know what I'm saying? Where do you draw the line to say, okay, this is not good? Yes, we're going to charge Diddy for all of the escapades that he's done to Cassie. When there's a full-on industry, billion dollar industry that's dedicated for exactly what she's saying. And now she's trying to sue or press charges for what's going on.
Impossible to remember every freak off she participated in because of all the frequency of the events and the drug use. It just felt like it was all I was good for him. I was humiliated. She began crying as she recalled feeling good about getting one-on-one time with Combs during the parties, which would last for 2 or 3 days at a time. It was the only time I could get with him. She would sometimes try to talk to him out of the freak-offs, always taking care to use a gentle voice because she didn't want him to feel judged. Jeez, she was walking on eggshells around this psycho. She was asked explicitly who she wanted to have sex with. I want to have sex with Sean. Did you want to have sex with the escorts? No. This has been a very emotional part of her testimony. She has paused to dab tears from her eyes. Cassie referred to Sean as Pop Pop, was first mentioned in her lawsuit against him in November 23. She wanted to refer to Combs by name no one else called him. Combs then asked her what she used to call her grandfather. It was Pop Pop. Combs then asked Ventura to refer to him that way. What? You're in a relationship with a girl. Your girl asks you for a name, and you recommend her grandfather's nickname. This guy's a weirdo, bro. When she tried to tell him she was not a fan of the freak-offs, her longtime boyfriend berated her, according to her testimony. Ventura said she would backpedal at the point of fear for disappointing Combs. Jurors were shown a series of 2010 emails between the couple, starting off raunchy and playful, with turning into arguments about whether Ventura would want to participate in the freak-offs.
Okay.
Freak-offs happened in New York, Atlanta, LA, Miami, Turks and Caicos, and Ibiza. Hotel reservations were made under aliases Jackie Star for Ventura, Frank Black, or Frank White for Combs. It's worth noting Frank White is the nickname Combs' former artist for the late Notorious B.I.G. Wait, what? Why is he using that? Defense prosecution judge are having a sidebar. A lot of details. Prosecutor Emily Johnson is sought in this part of the testimony feel a bit repetitive. She's asking Cassie about the brand of lube and baby oil, who made decisions regarding lube, the colors used during freak-offs, whether the candles were laid out, who chose the candles, to what temperature the room was set. In each instance, Ventura said it was Combs. Linens would also be laid out to protect the furniture. Combs would direct escorts to urinate on Ventura and would make her participate in these freak-offs while on her period. Miss Ventura, did you want to be urinated on? No. It was not discussed beforehand, she said, but it happened because it was a turn-on for Combs. All right, my man, Inner City Press.
Okay, so you're getting pissed on. You're getting degraded. You're getting treated less as a woman. And I'm gonna say this again. Women are doing this on a regular, voluntarily and intentionally. There's a lot of cases where women start off like as Cassie starts off, and then later on they regret their decisions 100%. And they end up going on a spree to, you feel me, to fill that void that they've experienced, or whatever reason they understand, like, okay, I made this mistake. It happens. That's life. That's what we go through. Now to pull somebody into this and say that everything was because of them, or like, where's the accountability, bro? You feel what I'm saying? I'm not saying Cassie specifically shouldn't be, you know what I mean, ignored, or, you know, stuff like that. But like why are you putting this all on Diddy and saying that it was all on him, when, you know, there's also the situation that you put yourself in? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, where's the accountability? You know what I'm saying?
This actually has some more detailed tweets I'm going to read here for the rest of this video. This guy's really good. Go follow him on Twitter. We were talking about Astroglide, the lubricant. How was it used? Lubricant. If you ran out, what? We call either the staff or the bell desk. Give them a tip. Were the freak-offs lit? Initially, it was candle. Strong-smelling Glade. Any other use of candle wax? A few times poured on my body. Who set the temperature of the room? Sean. I was expected to do freak-offs on my period. Did you want to? No. Did you want to be urinated on? Objection. Grounds. Asked and answered. Overruled. No, I did not want it. No, I did not want it. How did it feel? It was disgusting. It was too much. I choked. No one could think I wanted it. Why were you choking? Too much urine in my mouth. Who else urinated on you? Sean. Did you want Sean to urinate on me? How often did it happen? Often enough. Which hotel room charged the most for damage to the room? The Intercontinental in New York. They redecorated the whole room for ridiculous money. It was obvious I didn't want to be on the ground being urinated on by two men. Where did you find the escorts? Initially, Craigslist. What was a safe escort, not a cop, and someone who...
You're getting escorts from Craigslist? It's crazy.
...did not run and tell everyone about their experience with us. Why not a cop? I learned this whole situation was not legal. Objection. Jury will disregard that last answer.
I learned this whole situation was not legal. Hold on now. Run that back. What was a safe escort? Not a cop, and someone who would not run and tell everyone about their experience with us. AUSA said, why not a cop? And she said, I learned the whole situation was not legal. So she knew that this was wrong. She knew that it was illegal. And she still voluntarily did everything that Sean Combs did illegally. So you're trying to prosecute somebody for doing something illegal while you're still doing it. You're basically throwing somebody under the bus. And I cannot, like, have any sympathy for rats, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I can't have any sympathy for snitches or rats, bro. She could have, I'm gonna say it like this. She could have put it all behind her. Day 1, she could have put it all behind her. Day 2. Day 3, day 4, day 5, day 100, day 1,000. All of this for a couple of years. She's 38 now. So basically for 15 to 20 years, she could have put all it behind her and moved forward in life after the experience that she had. There's a saying that goes either one day or day one.
I learned this whole
That's
situation
all
was
I'm
not
saying.
leak. Objection. Jury will disregard that last answer. How did the cash get there? Security or he brought himself? The escort Dave, do you know his real name? Clayton Howard. Who is this? Photo shown to witness. Daniel. What service did you use? A dancer service. Do you recognize Jules? Yes. In what cities did you have free calls with Jules? New York, LA, Vegas. Do you know his last name? No. Who's this? I knew him as the Punisher. Oh my God.
She's snitching on all of them. She's snitching on all of them. All of them.
No. They had a nickname for a guy and called him the Punisher. Did you use drugs at every freak off? Yes, I need to dissociate and become emotionless. Who else used drugs at freak off? Sean did, sometimes the escort. Special K, KHB, and mushrooms. I'll read Sean's part of this email, you read you. When should I take the thing? When will you be there? Pausing you there. What did you mean? Drugs? I took mine, I'm flying. What does he mean? He's high. Why do you take more drugs? To not be present with the experience. Why? Because it was something I hated. How did you react to the ecstasy and MDMA? It could make me vomit. What would he say? To continue. Did you want to continue having intercourse when you wanted to vomit? No. How does GHB make you feel? Drunk, tipsy. Cocaine makes my heart race. I'm not a huge fan. Mushroom, their walls come alive. When the drugs ran out, how did you know who to reach out to? Sean would tell me. During the session, how would you know how to move to the next step?
So basically you're asking her, who else are you willing to snitch on in this case? And basically everybody, what might happen, everybody that she's snitching on, they're going to choose a side, whether to snitch on Diddy as well or to defend themselves and have to go through all of this in this lawsuit, basically. I'm already calling it because, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm already calling it, bro. Just put it like that, bro. You can see how this is going. Basically, Cassie is looking to get as much support in this situation so they can all just rule Diddy as guilty so they could favor in the jury. You feel what I'm saying? You could tell.
Sean, what would happen after the escort finished on you? Sean would want it put on his body in the next room. Hold
Pause.
on, what? What am I reading here? He would want it put on his body. Did you do that? I did. Where? Usually on his nip.
Hey, yo.
What am I reading, dude? How did you feel? I was an object being heavily objectified by men.
What?
Sometimes he would watch by FaceTime. Were some of the sessions recorded on your devices? Because they were there. If you saw them on your device, what would you do? I would delete them. Why? They were disgusting. I never wanted anyone to see them. Were Sean's devices used sometimes? Yes, I asked him to delete them. Did he? I don't know. Did you ever leave a freak off before it was over? Yes, at the City Century Intercontinental. I finally had a premiere coming up and I didn't want to mess it up, but Sean hit me. At one point did Sean hit you? Between sessions. I got to the elevator. Next thing you know, I was thrown to the ground. Who threw you down? Sean. He grabbed me by the neck and my hoodie. Let me show you the video. They play the video of him. What were you doing? Trying to use the hotel phone. Taking my phone on my back. 2016 hotel beating took place before her film premiere. Prosecutor presented a text exchange between Ventura and Sean Combs in which she expressed a fear that the freak-off would mess her up before the event. But she testified she worried that Combs would just make it miserable for me if she didn't comply, so she went to the freak-off and still made the premiere. She said she wanted to enjoy something she had worked really hard on. This guy was just a cancer in her life. Asked why she stayed on the floor when Combs kicked her at the elevator. She stayed on the ground, she said, because it felt like the safest place to be. She was barefoot when she fled him.
That's cold.
She said she
All
was
that shit is
putting her
cold. I ain't
shoes
gonna
on when Combs appeared wearing nothing but a towel, threw her to the ground, kicked her, and punched her. She had been trying to get through the freak off in decent shape for her upcoming film premiere. The next thing I know, I was just thrown to the ground. After he hit me, I saw the result of it. I knew I had to get out. Government argued there was an obvious risk of re-victimization showing the freak off videos to the press, even if only to a small group of reporters. The judge is still reviewing the issue, and we may not know what the court decides until trial resumes tomorrow. And that's it for day 2.
So that's fucked up. All of that though, putting your hands on a woman and all that shit, that there's no, nothing that can ever like clear up you doing whatever you did to have to put your hands on a woman. However, like I already know, that's the business that they in. You know what I'm saying? That's the industry that they are in. All of that abuse and you voluntarily signing yourself up to go through all that abuse basically until you feel like you can't take no more. Everybody has a breaking point. But that does not negate you intentionally doing things that are illegal and having to reciprocate that energy with another person that you're in a partner or in association with. What they say, birds of a feather flock together. You feel what I'm saying? So I just can't look at Cassie Ventura as somebody who's a victim at this point. She's the person that's enabling the victimization. You feel what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. I'm sorry, y'all might not agree with me, but like this is not the first time that this has happened. This is just on a grand scale that nobody knows about, and it's by a person that everybody idolizes. It doesn't make it any different from anybody on the street that does the same thing that has to do with the same shit. It's crackheads that have the same story that go through the same shit, and they probably just handle the beatings a lot more. You feel what I'm saying? They probably just able to, because they probably don't see their self-worth. They don't see their value. They don't ever have anybody out there that's looking to save them or rescue them. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of times you can look at them as victims. However, when you put yourself in the position to be in that position, at that point, how do you ever say, you know what I'm saying, you're the victim? You know what I'm saying? You can also be the person that's guilty. You can also be, what about if for example, one of the escorts felt like what they were doing were OD, and they decided to sue Cassie, and they decided to sue Diddy together and have them in cahoots. At that point, Cassie's probably going to throw Diddy under the bus. You feel what I'm saying?
I'm sure defense lawyers will have tons of plans on cross. Government only needs half the day tomorrow to finish direct, and the defense comes up on cross. It's going to be interesting. Comment down below what you guys think. Hit subscribe. Love you guys. Peace out.
Like, imagine this, right? Imagine your sister was doing some shit like that willingly. You feel what I'm saying? Imagine willingly your sister or your little brother or your, you know what I'm saying? Your cousin or anything like that was doing the same shit. I'm sure plenty of people was probably like, yo, you need to chill. You need to get off of that. Don't do that. Don't be so associating yourself with this man. You feel what I'm saying? Get a lawyer. Call the police. Do this. Do that. Like I said, it's been plenty of niggas that wanted to play Captain Save-A-Ho and got killed in opposition for it. It's plenty. Plenty of people that tell you chill, don't do this, don't do that, and you ignore it and you go back the same day. You feel what I'm saying? So it's hard for me. It's not hard for me to have sympathy, but it's hard for me to look at you and say you want to prosecute this person after you decide to associate yourself with these things, instead of putting it all behind you and admitting and having accountability that you did wrong. You want to take somebody down. Mind you, not a bad thing to try to and take somebody down, especially if they're doing this to people and you feel like they're manipulating. You feel what I'm saying? At that point, it's good so that they don't continue doing this to other people. However, it's people that are in the business for this. They intentionally prefer this kind of reciprocation in their business, in their lifestyle. There's a lot of people that's praying that they're in the same position Cassie was in. Because mind you, she was getting hella benefits. She had so much different houses. She had a 10-year, she had a 10 album deal. You feel what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Diddy was, you know what I'm saying, doing all of this for her. There's a lot of women out there that would want that and want to be in her shoes, no matter, even if Cassie is telling them that this is all the shit that he's doing. You get what I'm saying? I feel like Cassie just got fed up at one point. Like, she was like, okay, I want to get out this business now. I don't want to do this anymore. And she felt like maybe this was the best way to get out that business. But, you know, that's all I got to say about this. I don't want to say too much more because I know, like, this shit is cruel, and it sounds cruel the way it is coming out of my mouth. I ain't going to lie. It sounds cruel. It sounds tough. But you're going to have to, like, produce a lot more to have me convince me that Diddy is the bad guy in the situation. He's a bad guy, of course. But also, at this point, you have to also prove your innocence now. Diddy is a bad guy. You can say he's guilty all he wants. Everything that he did, yeah, guilty for sure. But now, what are you getting out of this prosecution? You know what I'm saying? Are you just looking to throw Diddy in jail and call it a day? Or are you going to are you also going to, how do you say, retribute everything that you've also done and the role that you played in your part in this freak off shit? Because at the end of the day, at this point, she also must have been recruiting other people as well. Like I said, the enabling shit. She must have been recruiting. She also could have been recruiting other artists, telling her this is the business, telling her come to these parties, promoting, doing this, doing that, assisting and aiding Diddy. So let's really get into it. That's all I gotta say, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope this doesn't change the perspective of how y'all look at me, y'all. Y'all might feel that y'all want to side with Cassie. Yeah, some of y'all might feel y'all want to side with Diddy. I'm not taking no sides. I'm just saying my perspective and how I look at it. You feel what I'm saying? I hope y'all understand where I come from and how I understood this situation. And, you know, you guys could sit on this and, you know, give y'all a deeper thought about how this should go about and how this should play out. You know what I'm saying? So, we out this joint, man. Blessings. Ski.